part of the He Chose the Nail series. This is actually a lead-in to Sunday morning. And the series that I'll be preaching on Sunday morning, which is with all your heart. Return to me is the first. Return to me with all of your heart. And the key to all of this, friends, in this Lenten period is not so much, the whole way we've looked at Lent before. Lent traditionally is that time when we give something up. I remember when I was younger, I had a lot of friends that were Catholics, and we did Easter, but we didn't do Lent in the Methodist Church back in those days. We talked about it, but we didn't do Lenten services and things like that. And this giving up something I didn't understand. And I had these friends that went to our school, but they were members of the Catholic Church, and they were talking about how they had to give up meat on Fridays. And they had to give up this, they had to give up that. One of them told me that he was going to give up homework. And I don't think he got away with that. And so often that's what it becomes. It becomes a giving up of something that we really don't want in the first place. We look at it as a rule that we need to follow. And that's kind of what Joel is talking about and what Paul is talking about when he's writing to the church at Corinth, is this whole idea of we need to return to God, but not just in ways that are outward, not just by giving things up, not just by trying harder, but in actually returning our hearts to God. God doesn't want us to give up something for Lent. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But that's not what's important to God. What's important to God is what we give at Lent. Lent is a time, and Ash Wednesday is the beginning of that, when we explore what it means to give ourselves truly to God. Lent leads us up to the most wonderful gift that could ever have been given to any of us. And we talk about Christmas and the gift of the baby Jesus, and that is a wonderful gift. But that gift on Easter was 10,000 times more important than just the birth of the baby. The gift he gave us then is the gift of eternal life. And the period of Lent is a time for us to consider what can we give back to God in light of what he's already given us. His sacrifice, himself, given to us. And we see it in these scriptures. Return to me with all your heart. Rend your heart, not your garments. Return to God. And don't tear up your clothes in signs of suffering and all that. But tear up your heart. Open your heart up so that you can truly welcome God into your heart. So tonight we take the ashes and we put the ashes on as a reminder of the fact that we live in this kind of odd kind of world where we serve a God who wants us to give our hearts to him because he's given his heart to us. And as Paul talks about it, we live in a place where we seem to be losing, but yet we're winning. We seem to be being beaten and taken advantage of, and yet we're not. Because when we give our hearts to God, we have the chance to be made right. We have the chance to be able to withstand whatever comes our way. We have the opportunity to be God's people. It's an interesting concept that we live in. As he says here at the end, he says we get glory and dishonor, bad reports and good reports, genuine but regarded as impostors, known yet regarded as unknown, dying, and yet we live on. We come and we put the ashes on, and ashes traditionally are a sign of mourning, a sign of grief. Usually when something terrible happened to someone back in the times of the Bible, they would rend their garment and they would put ashes on their head. They didn't do a little cross on their forehead, but they would just dump ashes on their head and they would just sit like that. It was a physical representation of what they felt like inside. Well, we put just a little bit of the ashes on, a symbol of death. And yet, those ashes are a symbol of life. They remind us that we are mortal. We won't live on this earth forever. But through those ashes, through the death of Christ, through the suffering that he went through the wearing of the ashes to remind us of all of that, we celebrate a new life. And so out of the sign of death, out of the sign of despair, is a reminder that we are mortal, but we have an eternal home. Return to me with all your heart. The prophet Joel reminds the people. God doesn't want us to return to him through outward symbols and outward acts. He wants us to truly give our hearts to him. Return with all of our heart. And as we come together tonight and we receive these ashes, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be saying, I want to return with all of my heart. Amen. And amen.